Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural divine heirs. Today is July the 15th, 1442 on the ancient moon calendar, 1441 on the ancient sun calendar, and 2021 on the Greco-Roman calendar. All rise and stand. This is a sovereign, original, indigenous, natural divine, Article 3, ancient Moorish American, Al-Moroccan court action. I am Sovereign Living Justice, Pauline Denise Ritchie, in capitis diminutio nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. My free chosen national appellation is light tajiri bay, in capitis diminutio nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. No United States corporation, company, citizen, nor their agents, principals, heirs, assigns, nor any derivatives thereof has personam jurisdiction, nor territorial jurisdiction, nor subject matter jurisdiction over me, nor over any more. So today we want to get into the Constitution because we need to, I'm finding out some things in my study, and I am definitely going to need to hear from this Congress here that is assembled here about what you think and what you know about the Constitution and how it and how we go about, again, continuing to better understand it and better enforce it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the Constitution up because, see, when our prophet said enforce the Constitution, you know, even as I'm looking at the Constitution now, that document is very, very, very powerful. Not only is it very powerful, but there are some things in it that we as a nation really need to make sure that we understand and know what we're enforcing. Okay, we have to know what we're enforcing because, see, there's more to the Constitution than we thought, way more than we thought. And when I say then we thought, I'm talking about when we were asleep, we thought it was one thing, and now that we're awake, it's something totally different. So I am going to go ahead and lock the I really don't want to do that, but I'm going to go ahead and lock it and go ahead and excuse the hybrids from the meeting. All hybrids, please leave the meeting. And I said please, but I mean that is a command. And if you speak out, we are going to put you out. So be aware of that. So now we're talking about the Constitution, and I want to just take, over the next few weeks, we'll just be taking parts of it and looking at it carefully and ensuring that, number one, that we're enforcing it, and number two, that we're aligned with it. We're not under the Constitution, we wrote it, so, but we are aligned with it, okay? In reading the Constitution, I wanted to look at the preamble just briefly. The preamble to the Constitution says, we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. So, do we know who's speaking there? Do we know who we, the people, are. Okay. Just one moment. Let me issue yet another command here. See? Command followed. Okay. So, yes, Empress put that the ancestors are doing the talking there. That is correct, and we are the ancestors returned. But when we're talking about for the United States of America, are we all clear that there's more than one United States of America? Are we clear on that?
Islam?
Islam,
can you enlarge that? Thank you.
Yes, I can.
Blue is subject
There
status.
it is right there. Huh?
Blue is subject status.
Yes. Yes. So
also,
yes, Justice General.
Yeah, Yakuba Lee here. You also have United States of Mexico. All of those are United States as well.
Yes. Yes. And they are included in the first United States of America, which is the Moors. The United States of Mexico, the United States of Africa, the United States of America, the United States of there's 12, okay, and there might even be 13 at some point. But as of the writing of this, there's 12. There will be 13. I'm pretty sure of that.
Pauline, I also have your daughter's phone number along with your husband.
Because there's also going to be let me mute that. There are more than one. There's 12 that we know of, and there will most likely be a 13th, and that 13th is going to be the culmination of all of them together, minus the corpses.
I thought you were going into lecture mode, Pauline.
So,
what's up with
now, that? Just one moment. They already know I'm going to throw them out as soon as they open their electronic, robotic AI mouth. So now, yes, on paper only, there's only one United States of America, and that's the Moors. And that's the Moors all over the earth. Okay? That's us all over. So the Moors over in the place known as Africa over there, which we know this is Africa too. Okay? America is Africa, it's ancient Morocco, it's also Asia, because this is the uniting of Asia, of all of us coming together, all the land masses coming back together as a people. And so this is going to be our way of legislating what happens on our land, okay? So when we talk about a legislature, okay, and it's consisting of a Senate and a House of Representatives, in ancient Rome, we were the Senate. We were the Senate, okay? And has anyone done the etymology and looked up the word Senate in the dictionary as well as doing the etymology on it? Has anyone done that?
Yeah. Ism.
Yes.
Yeah, it means old man.
Yes. Yes, it does. It means old men or ancient or it means old or aged.
Age, ain't something
means.
ancient, something old. Right, yes.
Yes. That's how we know that we're the Senate. Now.
You mean old like Princess Ali?
Then who
old
is
like Princess Ali?
Who is the House of Representatives? Who's the House of Representatives?
The heirs.
Well, think about it. Because remember, no one represents the Moors, and we're just thinking here.
They were the colonists. They were the colonists who were allowed to represent their respective districts and territories.
Yes. Therein is the makeup of the Republic. Because remember, we govern the Republic too.
Islam. Something else too. You know, we see when we're reading those documents, we see the United States in Congress assembled. That's the assembled part. It was put together out of disparate parts. That's what the prophet was talking about when he said you're part and parcel of this said government. But it was the Moors who brought it together. That was, you know, when they first started calling it the United States of America. That was a reorganization of the original government. That original government was Societas Republica y Americanos. That was the reorganization of it. And so the Moors created a trust, an imperial trust. And when they did the reorganization, it was called United States of America. That's what George Washington was talking about in that letter to the Sultan.
Yes.
I yield.
Yes. That's good. See, now Justice Amos, you're in the chat. You're right where we need to be thinking, where we're thinking. So you right there. It is not the House of Presenters.
Is that like the Sultans of Swing,
because it's not the House of Presenters, because the Senate, which is the Moors, are supposed to be governing, and the House of Representatives is the foreigners that came here, and the foreigners that came here. And this is something that I'm just soaking in all of it. The foreigners that came here were supposed to come to us and say, can we have an election? How do we do this election? And who gets to decide how things go? When you're looking at that Constitution, it says that the Moors are supposed to be doing the deciding where their elections and all of that stuff is concerned. We're supposed to be from a superior position, and when I say superior, I mean at law, superior position at law in saying, okay, you all can have your elections, but we, the sovereign electors, outside of their system, okay, we're outside of it. And in fact, they are under our system, jurisdiction, with their elections and everything. And that's why you see everything being such a mess right now. Was because the Moors have not been looking at the Constitution saying, oh, we're actually supposed to be taking the lead on all of that. Yes, Justice Amos, the real electoral vote. Yes. Absolutely. So that's when Justice Jezreel talked about the reconstituting, so to speak. We were saying, okay, we're going to have these commercial beings here, these subjects here. We need to make sure that while they're on our land, that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and that they behave like humans, and that we rein them in terms of all that's going on by taking an active sovereign role in everything that's going on our land. Read the Constitution. The Senate is the Moors. Yes, the Senate is the Moors, and the Senate was always outside of that structure that the House of Representatives was representing. The House of Representatives do not represent the Moors. The Moors are actually governing that House of Representatives. They're not equal like that at law. The Moors are supposed to be governing that. When you read the Constitution, you'll see. And that is why I hear a phone ringing in the background. Hopefully it's not, you can't hear it in the call. But that is exactly where we're supposed to be in terms of governing of our land. Is we're the senators and we're the electors, and we govern over the House of Representatives and the one doing business as president. We govern over them and make sure that on this land things stay like they should. Keep reading the Constitution and you will see. I mean, my eyes were open to a lot of things. At first it was a little bit of confusion on my part because I'm thinking this sounds like we're supposed to be governing over elections and all of that stuff. Yes.
And if you look at Section 2 of Article 1, it actually says the House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every second year by the people of the several states. We were never part of the several states.
There it is, right there on the screen. There it is, right there on the screen. And states has a capital S and it's in blue. I figured that was out, Justice Jezreel. You know, the ancestors were giving us the keys and things that we need in order to, because see, everyone who knows our work know that we did everything that we needed to do in order to separate ourselves from them, from the capitalism system. And now it's time for us to govern over all that has to do with our land. All that has to do with our land. So, Justice Jeremiah put something in the chat that is why presidents selected by electoral college like popes are selected by cardinals. You know, Justice Jeremiah, I didn't know that popes were selected by cardinals, but I know now. Thank you for that one. Let me open up the meeting. The Moors are trying to get. So we needed to come out of that system. We needed to come out of the system so that we could, yes, Justice Jeremiah, cardinals wear red. Yes, that is true. The answers are right there in our faces. We just needed to wake up and look. So I'm looking at the Constitution and, you know, trying to break things out and put that which is in red that applies to us in red and that which applies to them in blue, you know, because when I saw it in all black, it was confusing some years back. But the longer I looked at it and the more I looked at it and the more the ancestors started giving us key after key after key, we're actually supposed to be governing over anything that, because see, we gave them the Constitution. So how can we give them the Constitution and then step back and let them do whatever? That's not how that works. We give them the Constitution, like we're going to do, and then we actually participate in governing over it, making sure that everything is where it should be. Now, this is where our courts come in, because somebody on YouTube asked me, well, what's the difference between a court action and a consular court action? The difference between a court action and a consular court action is that a consular court action is the federal question. That's the Supreme Court thing, where we're dealing with diversity. Diversity.
One is fantasy and the other is a bigger fantasy,
etc. You know, diversity of citizenship and diversity of nationality. That's the difference between consular court and a regular court action, as done by the heirs, would be where everyone is the same nationality, etc. And we're just deciding or determining some type of an event. Okay, that's what we're doing. Okay.
Use your court to take over First Avenue.
We actually have to again. So we actually have to, once again, this Congress on this call right here of Moors, we need to represent, or not represent, but present this Constitution to the hybrids on the public record again, and then move to govern the way that we should. We have to, we don't even have, we have to, in order to take back everything on the land that needs to be taken back. We have to. But I see now where the ancestors wanted us to get our courts back up and running, because we actually govern by court action, just like the ones that were doing business as fake Congress. They were quote unquote governing by court action. That's
you
why
haven't taken anything bad, Colleen. Take back First Avenue. Why aren't you?
Many of them. Every last one of them was either an attorney or a judge or something like that. Every last one of the ones that were doing business in Congress. But they were doing court actions every time they spoke, which is what we've done now. Whenever we speak, it's a court action of some kind. So now we have to, the systems, and this is something that we've known and we've been saying this all along, the systems that are on this land, the financial system, the system of government and all of that was put here by us for us. Then it was hypothecated. And so then what do we have to do? We had to wake up and raise everybody from the dead, put them in subject status, and now move to take back our rightful place in the affairs of men. And that has everything to do with law, jurisprudence, civics and jurisprudence. So we worked really hard to come out of that capitalism system. We stay out of that capitalism system. We never go back, ever. And the way to do that is to be competent on how to do our documents and all of that, and then take back our rightful place in government, real government, not
You're not
corporate
competent
government,
enough to take over First Avenue. You're not competent.
None of that. Okay? So let's, we have to keep moving in the direction that we're moving in. And then here on the screen, Justice Yeshurel, you took us up to Section 2 of Article 1. It says here, all legislative powers herein, Article 1 is Article 1, Section 1. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate, and Senate is actually this way, and in red. Senate, and then this is red as well. Now, I can tell you in reading down further, this is going to be red also. Okay, so everything that has to do with what we're talking about is under our sovereign authority. Everything that we're talking about right now is under our sovereign authority. So in ancient Rome, the Senate, you know, if you go back and look at some of my favorite movies are about ancient Rome, and some of my favorite series are about ancient Rome. And in looking back at how all of that was presented, and then the study that we do, the senators were the strongest legislators. So the Senate approves everything. The House of Representatives will go and talk to their citizens, and then the citizens will tell the House of Representatives what to say. And then the House of Representatives will go and represent the citizens. Yes, Justice. Justice Ramos, they will not represent what we present. No, they don't do that. They represent to us what the subjects and the citizens tell them. They bring it back to us and they say, we want to make this law and we want to make that law. And we passed it in the House, but now it needs to go to the Senate, And the Senate is the Moors governing from above, where law and authority is concerned. And if it does not pass the Senate, it can't happen on this land. Especially when the Senate is the Moors. And then we, as Moors, we speak for ourselves. We speak for ourselves. Yes. Always in our favor, Justice Ramos, always. There will never be a time when it's not. We were the Senate in ancient Rome too. Yes. And so they will bring something to us and they'll discuss it with the citizens and say, okay, we need to do this and we need to do this and we need to do this. Okay, that's what they do. And then they bring it to us and they say, okay, we've gained consensus among the citizens. Can we do this? Okay, we took a vote and, and this is the House of Representatives. They represent the citizens and they say, we took a vote. Now let's send it to the Senate and see what they say about it. And if it's something that has to do with our land that we don't agree with, it will not pass the Senate. Okay. Justice Theodore says, so now we need to lean on so-called senators. I would say go ahead and do that. However, your lean will be in conjunction with the fact that we've already leaned the United States Corporation Company. They're a part of that. So we've been doing it. We've been doing it, and then we did the court action on the one doing business as Donald Trump as a court, not as the living subject, but as the court. We did a court action on that court and all of the ones doing business as governor. We did that right before their election thingy, and
all those governors are still right where they were, aren't they, Pauline?
And he couldn't be the president because we did what we did and said what we said. And then those that chose to be in their government, quote unquote governor position, all they did was step back. All they did was step back and just stay they haven't been doing any action. They've just been staying back, keeping the citizens in their place. while we do what we're doing. And that's what that whole COVID thing is too, is them keeping the citizens at bay while the Moors stand up and say, okay, we're here, we're back. No, we're not wearing masks because we're who we are. And now we're going to go ahead and do what we need to do on this landmass in terms of looking at the Constitution that we gave you in the first place, putting everything back in order, bringing the peace onto the land and all of that, and financing everything. And if you'll go, as we go through the Constitution, you're going to see where finance comes in at. That's why we needed our own money, because we could not have moved any further using Federal Reserve debt notes, because that's in the Constitution too. So anybody who is pushing the Constitution, okay, anybody who's pushing the Constitution needs to be working their way out of using Federal Reserve debt notes. You need to work your way out of using it. We just decided to jump on out and do what we need to do where Federal Reserve debt notes are concerned, okay? But Federal Reserve debt notes they corrupt all demonstrations, just so you know. Go ahead, Nobility.
I just wanted to, like, for instance, when we're closing a lien and we're usually giving them 3 times their annual budget, are we able to use our money and or credit instrument for that demonstration? Islam.
So here's the deal with the money and the credit instruments and all of that. The fiat piece has to be, that fiat energy has to be taken care of first for anyone who's attempting to use any of the instruments and the money and things that we have. There are some who are trying to do both, and it's not going to work. Not going to work. So with regard to how to use it, we've just begun using it. So, for example, I won't say her appellation because I didn't ask her if I could say her appellation, but one of the Moors was given a ticket by a court. And so what we did was she uploaded her moorishe ID in red and all lowercase letters and a copy of the ticket and 10,000 in moorishe sovereign dollarium, and she sent it to me and copied all of those, the fake judge, the fake policy enforcer, and all of that, the clerk of the court, fake, all of them. And she did a court action. She did the court action first, because see, that's the most important thing is each one of us has to be competent to do our own court action. She did the court action first, beautifully, by the way. And then what happened is she sent that out. Then I did a court action also saying that, yes, she is who she says she is. This is our empress. We recognize her as our empress. She is one of our own. And we accept everything that she's saying as law. Okay? And so what happened after that? The fake court sent an email back saying, we have received and filed all documents. And that was all they said. We proved who she was. She made a payment, and it's not a payment because, again, she can print as much moorishe sovereign dollarium as she want to print. She autographed the moorishe sovereign dollarium with her, and then put her right red thumbprint and uploaded it and sent that to me via email. And we accepted it. Our Article 3 court accepted it. They can't get past that. You got 2 Article 3 judges doing a court action that says we are who we say we are. She is who she says she is. She has a witness. And then all who were party to the email were the witnesses also. Period. It's a wrap. Let the dead bury the dead. That all that was saying is y'all can have your court. It's black. She's not black. She's red. She's white. Period. She's sovereign. And when I say white, we mean sovereign. They have no recourse to that. See, the money part was the linchpin. The money part is the linchpin. If you got anything going on where they're trying to say, you know, you owe this, and they're talking to their corpses now, remember that. The court owes this, the court has to be at court on this time, the court has a warrant, the court this, da-da-da-da-da, all of that. Get you an email together. Put your red ID card, in red and all lowercase letters, your Moorish American ID. Make a copy of some Moorish sovereign delarium with your autograph on it, in red and all lowercase letters with your right red thumbprint, and send it to another Moor who's a justice and say, I am who I say I am, do it as a court action, all rise and stand, etc. This is a $10,000, this is 10,000 in Moorish sovereign delarium or 5,000 in Moorish sovereign delarium to the Article 3 Moorish American Al-Moroccan Consular Court. And we're doing this court action stating who I am and that I am not any name in black ink in capital letters. And when you send that payment and whatever, and it's not a payment again, because we can print as much as we want. So when you do it that way, then have the more that you send it to, and it doesn't have to be me. It can be any more. You tag team with another more out there. And if you can, tag team with 2 more out there by email, so they don't have to be in your territory. Tag team with them and say, okay, I got this thing going on. We need to form a quorum here, a court quorum, and let's do this. Let's send this email and take care of this issue. And I'm going to send you some delarium to your court, having this issue resolved in our jurisdiction, because it was always the money, the fiat rather, on their end and the money on our end that fixes or breaks everything. It sets jurisdiction, Justice Yezerel, right there in the chat. It sure does. And they can't do anything with that. All they'll do is take their court and go bury their court. Same way that they did when I did a court action on that black court doing business as Pauline Denise Ritchie. That was a court in black ink and capital letters. I did one. They turned around and did another one and issued 3 warrants, I suppose, for that court. And they took their dead and went on about their business. And here we sit, the living. So the delarium is setting the jurisdiction all day, every day, with regard to anything we have going on. Send some delarium to another more and copy all the fakes and tell them. And don't just copy them. Go ahead and let them see. Send it directly to them. You know, and let them know that the Moors got this, we got this taken care of among ourselves. You have no say in that. I would do that with everything. I would do it with utilities. I would do it with court actions and all of that stuff. All of it. Make a copy of the delarium that you signed, you autographed and put your right red thumbprint on it. Because again, that's constitutional. That means that the Moors are in alignment with the Constitution because we're doing everything as court action. That's Article 3 and Article 6. And then Article 1, Section 10 about the money. We're doing everything we're supposed to be doing and doing it among each other without the United States. And then you just copy them. That means you just notifying them that we are who we say we are. So we must be aligned with the Constitution, and this is how to do it. If there's anyone who has not received delarium, if you want to go ahead and put your email in the chat, we'll send it to you. And if you're on the call by phone, go ahead and text me your email address so that I can send the Delarium to you as well. Okay? We all need to be using Delarium. Sending it via email is absolutely 100% valid because it's the same as an electronic funds transfer. Okay? So that's going to be more remedy for us. And we're creating our own remedy. So here, Section 2, Justice Yezerel, you went into that and about Section 2. We should have known by looking at Section 2, it talks about inhabitants instead of residents. The House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every second year by the people of the several states, and the electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislature. No person shall be a representative, and see, they changed it from electors and they went on to say no person shall be a representative who shall not have attained to the age of 25 years and been 7 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of that state in which he shall be chosen. So if we look at the language that they're using right there in the Constitution, it's telling you who's who. We know we're not persons. We know we're not citizens. We are the nationals. Okay? So the Constitution is telling you that they're the House of Representatives because no one represents the Moors ever. All Moors, we speak for ourselves, and we do that collectively together. We speak with one voice together. Okay? And that has lent itself to proper governance manifesting on the land. Instead of someone being, you know, and we love our prophet, but our prophet, he was the head of the Moorish movement. And when he left, here we are 100 and something years later trying to still get it together. That's why we don't have a leader. The prophet is the head of the movement. Okay? We're all the head of this dimension in what we're doing and governing this vast estate. Okay? The movement is multidimensional. So the prophet is the head of the movement where he is and here. Okay? In this dimension, we have no leader who's breathing now. We don't have a leader because we're all the leader. And that is what a Senate is all about. The Senate is a group of Moors governing the House of Representatives, which will automatically trickle down to us governing the people, the citizens. Okay? So I would encourage you to really start looking carefully at the Constitution and how it's written, so that we can go ahead and move forth in taking the resources and governing all that has to do with us. Okay? And with that being said, we'll stop here at right here in the middle of Section 2. We'll stop here. Yes, I have that. I'm writing down, noting your email for the Delarium in the chat. Thank you for putting it there. So from this point now, more, we've been talking about the resources and all that's happening, all of that. At some point, you know, we've worked so hard to make sure that we come out of that system that I was hesitant when I started looking at the Constitution about what it really means. Okay. But what it really means is that we must be the Senate. We must be the Senate. And yes, we must be the Senate, and we have to determine what that looks like. We get to determine what that looks like, what being the Senate looks like, so that these citizens that are on the land can get where they need to be, you know. And it all started a major piece of governing the resources has everything to do with the dollarium. Now, as you can see, if you look at what's going on in the citizens' media, their money system, or it's not a money system, it's a fiat system. Their fiat system is, you know, it's not doing anything. And so the more we start to use our dollarium, the freer we will be when it comes to that. Those who have sent in their documents for the Moroccan American Exchange, we are setting up accounts with that you will be able to see. They are your accounts that you will be able to see with what you sent to the Moroccan American Exchange, and only you will be able to see your account. Okay, so that you can see how much you gave, and then when we all begin to use the resources that have to do with our accounts and to set the companies up and to do things for the companies, we'll be able to see on, and it is public record, by the way, in terms of not each one's account who sent. Your account is not public record, but what the Moroccan American Exchange and the companies do is public record. Okay, and what the government does. So, for example, the 666 trillion that we put on the public record, I could put a link in the chat and everyone would be able to see that 666 trillion on the record and what's happening with it. Okay. That's going to continue, and our records are going to look a lot like the ones on the United States Treasury, Corporation Treasury, or the Republic Treasury website. It's going to pretty much mirror that. It's going to match that. And it's not going to match it. It's actually, we're the original, and they were mirroring. Okay. So there's a question in the chat that I wanted to quickly talk about. What's the best paper to print the dollarium? We used linen or cotton paper, and we could get 100 sheets of that from someplace like Walmart or someplace like that for somewhere around 8 sovereign credits. 8 or 9 sovereign credits, somewhere around there. And and then you can also order it online. Cotton paper, linen paper, any paper that is made from natural products like cotton. Okay. Even if it's partially cotton, like part cotton and part linen or something like that. And you can get about 100 sheets for 8 sovereign credits. Okay. That's what we used for our sovereign dollarium, and it worked out really well. And we used 24-pound weight paper, the cotton paper or linen paper, 24 pounds. Okay, so hopefully that helps, Empress, in the chat. So are there any other questions or comments about the Islam, Empress, about the dollarium, about the Moroccan American Exchange, or the Constitution? Please read through the Constitution, please, so that you can see. And we will put this one under the chat, under the under this video on YouTube. We'll put this Constitution. But keep in mind that there's 12 United States. So the Constitution and the way that it's written in terms of who's doing what is going to morph and change over time. And the reason it's going to morph and change over time is because right now we're looking at the Republic and governing the Republic. But then after a while, it will be where it's just the Moors doing what Moors do on our land. Okay? And then if you look in the chat, the Moors are putting resources in there where you can get the cotton paper and see what it looks like online and everything. Thank you, Moors, for the information that you put in the chat so that we all can have what we need. Are there any questions, comments, etc.? And also, with regard to the dollarium, when it comes to the real estate piece, it's going to be important to show where the dollarium has come out of one account and into another account. Okay? And we'll be going over that. Most likely we will go over that Sunday. We do have interest today going over another piece of the real estate piece. And as we're rolling out the real estate piece, we want to roll out the finance piece at the same time. Okay, so this coming Sunday, we will show you where everything is in terms of the dollarium, the money, for all that we're doing. And then we'll also begin going through the documents that we've taken in for the Moroccan American Exchange and showing you where that money is and where it's going and what's being done with it, etc. And our records are in there seemingly like their infancy stage. So there won't be a whole lot of entries there in terms of where everything is going, but we want you to see it from the very beginning. And then as we go, you'll be able to click on the link that we give you and look at all the banking information, okay, including your own banking information. So with regard to the Moroccan American Exchange and the companies, for example, those who want sea salt, the Puget Sound Agricultural Company is going to be one of the companies, and the Thursdaye Company will be one of the two companies that are going to be dealing with the sea salt piece. So those who want the sea salt, you'll be able to go onto the Thursdaye banking site and just look and see how much the Thursdaye has taken in, how much has gone out for expenses. Same thing with all of the other companies on the Moroccan American Exchange. And then when things are sent in, we'll give you, for example, a general of, okay, this week this much sea salt was sold and this is how much revenue was taken in, or it'll be quarterly that we'll update the site where you can see everything that's going on. And again, we're doing everything by Moorish Sovereign Dollarium. So that also means that we're going to begin putting up on the internet, on the web, and we'll be sending to you, each one of you, and this is going to take a minute to happen, but we want to give you a heads up on it. We're going to start putting up the trust account for each one of us that has the 100 million for each Moor in it, in Moorish Sovereign Dollarium. Okay, so that you can first see it, and then we're going to be determining, based on the work that we're all doing, how it's used in terms of those who want sea salt, they can just pull from their trust and get the sea salt sent to them. Those who have banking things that they're doing, they can just pull from their trust, and then the bank will get that information and get the dollarium from their trust, and then they can go about doing whatever it is that they need to do in terms of getting the resources and anything on the land to get the businesses going, the commerce going. And that is what those take priority over other things. The commerce has to take priority simply because we need to get the more resources. And commerce is the way to do that. Okay? So we're going to keep talking through it and presenting it to you. And if you have anything that you see that you're like, I got a question about that, that doesn't seem right, or whatever, please, you can say it on these calls. You can, because we all need to, because 9 times out of 10, if you have a question, someone else has that same question, so we do need to hear, so that we can say, okay, let's take a look at that, okay? So our goal is to get all Moors fully employed with themselves on their own land, with their own government, and then to govern the land and make sure that everything is going the way it should. We're courts and citizen subjects and the political process and all of that, where all of that is going. And sometimes I hear people talking about political status, political status, political status. Our political status is in our blood, but we also have to manifest that. And that's what looking at the Constitution, because the Constitution is telling us, okay, what the political status of the Moors is we govern. We govern the land. And political status is not so much tied up in what you say as it is in what you do. Some have been talking about political status for years now. Well, how do you get political status manifested? You get it manifested by manifesting it. Okay? And that's what we're going to do. And you can't even really get political status manifested if you're still using fiat. You have to actually make everything manifest based on a platform that is constitutional. Political status has everything to do with the Constitution and the treaty. Let's not forget the treaty. Right now, we're talking about how to govern right now where we are, and then we'll take our time and look at the treaty as well, the same way. Islam, Justice.
Islam?
Islam.
Jade Michael, Illinois Territory. I was just hearing you say that to do court actions, we would be doing sovereign exchanges?
Yes.
And that would be necessary. Why?
Because all law is commerce. That's a maxim. That is a maxim of law. All law is commerce, and there has to be some commercial attachment to the law. There has to be. That's a part of the maxims of law, and that's how our ancestors set it up. So
basically, the same thing that's been going on with the corporate courts with the monetary system is similar, but the way I was seeing it was, I mean, it's all about the fulfillment of value. So when you're moving commerce, it's got to move or else it's stagnant. So the way I'm seeing it, okay, you got enough to do anything that you need to get done. There's no shortage, so that's what gets things moving, commerce-wise. That's what I'm seeing. But I just want to, because I'm seeing you're commerce moving, right? You're getting commerce moving.
Yes. Yes.
So should everybody?
We have to.
So should everybody expect delirium for services that they're doing just to get the commerce moving or keep it moving, or how does that work?
Yes and no. So the way that we're doing it right now is that the delirium is going back and forth between the Moors only, and then we're just notifying the subjects that an exchange, a sovereign exchange has taken place, and we got it. We got this. That's really how it's supposed to work.
Okay, now
so,
okay, well, sorry.
So it's kind of like, let me just say this, it's kind of like where let's just say there was a domicile for sale, and there were two real estate companies that had, you know, advertised it and put it out there and said, oh, you know, we got this domicile for sale. And when one of the real estate companies has a contract that's valid and they get the payment or whatever, the earnest money or whatever, then the contract goes through and they close on it, then they notify the other real estate company, and the other real estate company stops all of their actions and activities because the place is already spoken for, right?
Tabitha Gentry just arrested again for squatting. How about that?
It's going to be the same way. It's going to be the same way with the Moors. It's going to be the same way with the Moors, where we do the transaction ourselves among the Moors, and then we just notify them that this has been paid for already. It's been prepaid, because we prepay for everything. Because, you know, we've been saying that the whole time. We prepay for everything. It's been prepaid, and we have the title. We've done the proper protocols in terms of step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. Okay, and now it's done. It's closed. Okay.
Wow. So
that's.
Just saying, I look at that, the value fulfillment being fulfilled. It's in motion, and it's not.
Tabitha Gentry just got caught again.
Say that again, Justice Jade.
I was just saying it's about the value fulfillment being fulfilled. It's in motion, and it's not being static.
Yes.
It's just like money has to move, or it means nothing.
Correct. Yes, it must do that. It must do that. And the thing is, when we're going back and forth and then we're notifying them, that pulls them out of that transaction and exchange, because again, we've been saying we are without the United States corporation companies. Okay, and now what's happening is the commerce has started up with the Moors. It's already started. The Moors have been sending donations to help support these calls in Dollarium. They've been doing things with regard to the Moroccan American Exchange, stepping up and taking control of the company with Dollarium, gold-backed sovereign Dollarium, and now we're starting to go out and use it out on all of these things, these actions that these corpses have been trying to do. We're doing it that way. So now, where do we go from here? We have to do the demonstrations. We have to do the demonstrations, because sometimes Moors will ask, well, you know, can I take this to this place and that place and use it? Well, what's the process? What is the process? Do you have a process where other Moors are involved in that process, and you buy it from them, or not buy it, but you exchange it for Dollarium with them? Then you notify properly that that's been done. That's how this is going to work.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's how it's going to work. Commerce has to be happening between the Moors, and we have to have the right processes. It can't just be, I sent her 10,000 Dollarium, and we haven't done a court action, nobody's done a lien. No, we have to follow the protocols, because that's what they've been doing. We watched everybody who was given, let's just say, a ticket, a speeding ticket, or let's just say something like that. Well, that's a court action that they did. They pronounced you guilty, and then they liened. And they weren't talking to you, they were talking to the court. They liened their court, and then in some cases they took people to jail as surety for the court, and sometimes they said you have to be in court as surety for the court. So we have to go right back and do what they did, which is do a court action, do a lien, make sure that the contracts are terminated, and then look at the process and fulfill the parts of the process. That's why we're doing what we're doing with the real estate piece. If we're going step by step through that process, we know we got the money. Now money is not an issue with real estate, with the Moors.
So could that still be considered
now,
like tribute?
Mm-hmm.
Could that be considered tribute instead of like payment? It'd be like tribute?
No, you know what it is? It's not even tribute. It is actually accountability for the resources that are on the land. We must give an account for everything on our land. So it's just accountability. It's just saying we know what the value of this is, because that way you know how much is in your trust and what the value of your trust is, and all the Moors can look at their trust and say, my trust is worth $32 million right now in gold, more sovereign dollarium, because I have a domicile that's worth this much, and I have a conveyance that's worth this much, and the processes were done properly, and you know, because we have to be able to account for everything on. That's what competent heirs do. They're able to account for the vast estate, even all the way down to forks and spoons. You know, if you look at the hybrids, they were able to account for pencils and, you know, ink pens and gem clips and all of that stuff. We have to be competent to do that as well.
Knock, knock, Paul. You hit the federal way police.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're, you know, that's what this is all about, is being competent to govern.
Yeah, and knowing the value of all things.
Yes. Knowing the value. Yes.
Of all things.
Absolutely.
Okay, I yield.
Islam. That's a beautiful question. Thank you for that, Nobility, because, you know, we want to be sure that the Moors know that you're not buying your estate. It's already yours. But as competent heirs, we must govern it properly, point for point. Point for point means knowing the value of it. That's what the public record always has been, is everything on the land has a value, and if we claim it properly, when we claim it properly, then we don't get any pushback from the subject. None whatsoever. None. There have been Moors who claimed, you know, domiciles and things like that, and they ended up, you know, in jail or something like that. Well, that doesn't have to be anymore. What we have to do is, we got our own money now. Let's use it. And now, Moors, you're about to see what that more money, and I can't say more problems thing is about, but you're about to see when you have all the money that you need, that you still have to be competent at the other things, on how to use it. We still have to be competent on how to use it. Yes, you got all the money you need, but you got to be competent now. That's what heirs is all about. That's why we're called heirs. But not only are we heirs, we are executors, ministers, trustees, beneficiaries, etc. To whom much is given, much is required. Money is only a tool. Yes, Justice J. Michael, and it is a responsibility, Justice Yezreel. Justice Amos, accountability is our responsibility. Yes, it is. So now you get to see what it feels like to have all the money that you ever needed, because you can just print it. But now you got to be competent to know, okay, in order for me to get this, I got the money. That's not the problem. Now, what's the procedure and the process, and how can I keep it out of the capitalist system? It has to stay out of the capitalist system, and it has to be securely out of the capitalist system. It's easy to do, because all we have to do is look at what they did, bring it back into its proper status, and when we bring it back into its proper status, make sure that we answer point for point everything that they did in their system. If they had security there, we got to make sure we got security there. If they had insurance on something, we have to have an indemnus back here, you know, for 3 times the amount or whatever. okay? Because we know we can back our indemnifier up. Now, where the work comes in at, because see the demonstrations, the money, the documents, they're not the problem. They're not the issue. We got that. We got the money. We got the documents. It's going to be when it comes time to secure something, who's going to get up out of their bed and go secure it? When it's time for conveyances to be fixed, who's going to be the mechanic to fix the conveyances? Got to be the Moors. When it comes time for, if one of the Moors purchases a domicile, or not purchases, but does an exchange for a domicile, and they give proper accountability for a domicile, and that domicile catches on fire, what's gonna happen there? We have to have a fire department, ministry rather, a fire ministry of Moors. We have to have Sharifian peace officer Moors. We have to have Moors that do accounting and Moors that do justice and consul work. Our courts have to keep going. You know, the commerce is going. It's already started. We've already started back up. The commerce is already going. I mean, thank you, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, Nobility. Thank you, because I wanted to make sure, and I've been trying to do this for the last 2 or 3 calls, but I'm going to do it this time because I remember to do it. Because we get so involved in the conversation that sometimes we forget to do what is really important, which is I want to thank every Moor who has sent the 300 Moor sovereign dollarium to help support the cause. Because, oh boy, I'm going to try not to cry. Y'all know I'm a big baby about, you know, the giving and, you know, because it's energy. It's energy. And it's energy that we needed to exchange with one another. We need to know that you support what we do. We support everything that the Moors are doing, and we need that back sometimes too. And, you know, anyone who has dollarium can send 300 back, can take the time to, you know, autograph it and send it back and say thanks for doing the calls on Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and thanks for answering the phone whenever you can answer the phone, and, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, I just want to say thank you to all who have sent the and one of the Moors sent 300 million back for the Thursday call, you know, for the calls, which I really, really, I love it. It's amazing energy, and we need it, you know, because there's a certain amount of consistency that we have had to maintain. And then, you know, there's a certain amount of, you know, decorum that has to be done, where when you got hybrids coming in talking crazy, we have to stay in our nobility there. I mean, it's a lot, but we love it. We absolutely love it. And then now we're all coming together and all speaking with one voice and everything. It's beautiful. So I just want to thank you. And I want to thank everybody who comes to these calls. You know, you take the time out of your schedule to come, we're going to give you the information. And not only that, we're not going to charge fiat for that. We're going to say, here's all the dollarium you need. Just send us some dollarium back and we're good. Okay? There's a question in the chat. Justice Malik says, how can we use our dollarium digitally? We're setting that up right now. And that's what I was saying about very shortly you're going to be able to, and give us just, I don't have a time limit on that. Islam in the chat, thank you, Justice Morpheus, Justice Theodore, thank you so much. I don't have a time limit on when you'll be able to use the dollarium digitally yet, but we're working on setting that system up, okay? And if you are on the call on Sunday, we'll put the link in the chat so that you can click that link and you'll be able to see the beginnings of the financial system where at least where the 666 trillion is, and you'll also be able to see where the Moroccan American exchange is. We don't have all the entries in there just yet. We're getting them in. And you'll also be able to see where the Moorish National Republic federal government's budget is. And the budget that we're working from right now comes from the 666 trillion. So we've taken 100 million from that for the Moorish National Republic federal government to do what it needs to do. And the Moroccan American exchange is supporting itself because the Moors have given so much there. We're well over and above any amount that we could have ever imagined with the Moroccan American exchange and the companies there. We're in the trillions. But the last thing that I got from the Empress that's helping us, I don't want to put her on the spot either, was she had 2-point-something billion in contributions that have come in. I know for sure that's a little bit low, but again, I'm not through all of the documents that we've received, especially in the last few, about the last week and a half. So we're moving forward financially, and at some point, these are things forthcoming. I just want to tell you what's coming, because we mean business about the resources on our land and everything. At some point very soon, and I can't say very soon because again, we're just taking the banking thing step by step by step, and we're going to need more help with that. But at some point, we are going to be giving these cards, and hopefully those who are in the meeting should be able to see on the screen. Let me see if I can make that a little lighter. These bank cards, okay, they are in red in all lowercase letters. It says Tier 1 Sovereign Gold Back. It has my sovereign appellation. It says in capitis diminutio nolo in propria persona sua juris on it. It has the seal of both the government and the consulate. It has an image, a photo image of me, and it also, of course, has our flag on it. And then the number that it has on it is the sovereign security number plus 4 digits that indicate which card it is. So it'll be, you know, and then on the back it has the red stripe and also a one of the digital scan for the smartphone, the scan for the smartphone. Empress, there's another question in the chat. Can we use the dollarium to pay rental while we are waiting for the lien process to age? Okay. Yes, I'll say yes, dependent on your competence to do the demonstration. Okay. We can say yes all day long, or we can say no, you can't use it for that. But there's going to be some more who will know how to demonstrate that will demonstrate it, and it will work for them. So we always hesitate on whether to say yes or no. When people say, can we do this and can we do that? We just say, can you do it? Can you do the demonstration? And again, with the dollarium, a demonstration where rent is concerned, okay, there's a couple of things that need to happen. Only corpses only corpses pay rent, okay? And when I say only corpses pay rent, we have to be accepting the corpse status. That's number one. But number two, we have to competently remove, and some people have to do that until they know how to do the demonstration. Okay? Now, don't beat yourself up if you're paying rent. Don't worry about that, because at some point you're going to have to not do it simply because there's not going to be any fiat left to do that.
Grand Rising.
And right now, it's not any fiat. Yes, go ahead, Nobility.
If the sister looks up, there's actually a case law if she really wants to do that, where the gentleman paid his debt in coffee beans. And you can look up the case; it'll come up right away real quick. And reason being because there's nothing lawful to pay with. So basically, how can anyone compel you to pay with Federal Reserve notes or military script when it's no good? It's paper toilet. So who's to tell you what you can and what you could pay with? But just look up that case law.
He said that he paid in coffee beans. That's what he said, right? That's what you said, no, Billy, coffee beans?
Yeah, the gentleman paid his debt to the company that took him to court because the judge said, if the judge told him, you can pay it in coffee beans. So the gentleman came back and said, I'm going to pay him in, I think, a million coffee beans, and he paid the debt off with 1 million coffee beans.
Okay. So the reason he was able to do that is because, number one, he knew how to do that demonstration. Number two, coffee beans are natural. Number three, this is what I was saying earlier about the Moorish sovereign delarium. Where rent is concerned, okay, first you have to establish with them that you're not any court. That's number one. You're not the court. Number two, so this is how I would establish that. I would craft an email, okay, that has in it a copy of my Moorish American ID in red and all lowercase letters. And this is going to go to the policy enforcers. It's going to go to the sheriff. It's going to go to those who claim land, quote, claiming to be landlords, all of that. What you'll send in the email or the mailing, because you can send it in mail or deliver it yourself to all of these other corpses. This is what I would do. I would send a copy of my Moorish American ID in red and all lowercase letters, and you can make those yourself. I would also do the delarium for the amount of the whole building or the rent for 5 years in delarium, signed, autographed in red and all lowercase letters. And I would also do it by court action and then send it to another justice. Now, Moors, you're going to be tasked to connect with other Moorish justices that are not me in any other territory, because we have to connect that way too, okay? So connect with other Moors who know how to do court action. And the court action language is, I'll put it on the screen, it's right there. It's on the screen. And then have them to recognize you as the heirs and then say, now again, you got to do a lien on the place. We've been telling you to do this, terminate all corporate contracts, do a lien on the place. And that way, anyone who's doing business as a landlord will know that they're not a landlord, they're in subject status, and the real landlord is about to get the money. The real landlord is going to be any other Moor, and you send that Moor, quote-unquote, rent for 5 years, and what you'll want to do also is put a rent, do an affidavit of rental, a rental affidavit that says, that lays out what you're doing, that you're paying rent or you're buying the place or whatever for a certain amount of time if you want to do it rent-wise. And then you make sure that you notify whoever it is that's claiming it that, number one, a termination of corporate contracts has been done, the ID card in red and all lowercase letters, the delarium amount, the exact amount of delarium in red, and you want to upload that delarium with your autograph on it and your right red thumbprint into this email as well, so that they can see that, yes, a payment actually took place. An exchange took place, a commercial exchange took place. And then you want to also make sure that you have the lien okay, that you've liened, who are all involved, lien everyone who's claiming an interest, including the fake sheriffs and all of them, lien them, do a court action on all of them, and then make it known that you are the CEO in red, in all lowercase letters, of any company that they work for. This is how the people take back everything that's theirs. Okay? And there are some Moors who are already doing these types of, yes, Justice Yezerel put it in the chat right there. Bottom line, they have no claim. Okay? Justice Theodore put a quit rent affidavit in the chat. And even with quit rent, send the delarium to another Moor and say, this Moor, and this is where we're going to need more Moors to set up land banks and rental companies and real estate companies, is so that when Moors send you their delarium, you can put that delarium on your book and respond back to them with a reply to all of those people that, yes, this property has been paid for by the Moor, prepaid by the Moor in constitutional money, and you'll put a copy of the Constitution, not in black, but in red, in all lowercase letters, the Constitution, stating about, or at least quote Article 10, Article 1, Section 10, about the gold money, the gold coin in tender of all debt. Okay? So that's what you want to do with the property. And then also make sure that you do things like allodial sovereign title on the property and all of that. Okay? That is how you use delarium to pay rent or to pay for anything domicile, related of any kind. Because let's face it, the majority of the Moors don't have the fiat anyway. So we have to do the demonstration. We have to do it. And then know the things like not to answer the door because of, people trying to say or do whatever, trying to recontract with you, because they will try to recontract at some point, possibly. They may or may not. Who knows? I'm inclined to believe they won't try to recontract with you because you've done your homework and you know that that other stuff ain't real money, but Moorish sovereign delarium is real money. And what makes it real is the same thing that made us think theirs was real. It's our use of it. It's our sovereign autograph. Okay? So that hopefully, Empress, that answers your question about the Moorish sovereign delarium and how to use it where rent is concerned. We must do our homework, and I would not wait until 2 days before, they done slapped an eviction notice up there. Be proactive, Moors. If you're renting, go ahead and get a lien done and get a court action done and do all liens as a court action also. And then start sending delarium to another Moor, and again, we need to set up real estate companies in our territories. And if you have to be your own real estate company, send the delarium to your from you, the heir, to your real estate company, and you give your real estate company whatever appellation you want to give it. But remember, a lot of Moors don't have the fiat to even pay for anything like that. Why? And I'll say this, as we continue to move in this manner, there's going to be some who, some of those doing business as landlords fraudulently, who are going to say, well, we gave you a COVID break last year of 3 months where you didn't have to pay, and now you got to pay for those 3 months plus next month plus this month. That's why we might as well go ahead. That's called hyperinflation when they start doing things like that. And that we already know that that's coming. So we're going to have to go ahead and do what we're doing. Yes, Justice Theodore says feudal landlord with a capital F and a capital L. Correct. Empress, hopefully that answers the question that you had. You're welcome. I got that. So are there any other questions about how to use the Dollarium? Get with another more or two, and you all assist one another in getting through whatever it is you need to get through. Assist one another. And then also make sure that you know that they're going to take that black corpse and do away with it. Islam, Empress.
I heard you say on a different call, something about businesses the Moors already had. If those businesses were chartered like in the capitalist system, do we have to put a lien on them?
Yes, I would suggest that you do.
Okay. Islam.
Because, see, if you don't put a lien on it, guess who's going to put a lien on it?
Okay.
And, in fact, they put a lien on it every quarter because they want you to report, quote-unquote, report what has come in so they can tax it.
Okay.
So they're already trying to lien. So you might as well put a lien on that, put it in all lowercase letters, and keep on doing your business. And then we also have to prepare, yes, Islam, Empress. We also have to prepare, all businesses need to prepare to accept gold-backed Dollarium for whatever it is that you do. You have to be prepared to do that. So start trying to wind things up and situate them so that you can prepare to do that. It's going to be for the best. I'm telling you, it's going to be for the best, because that system is chewing people up and chewing up corpses and spitting them out, and we can't be corpses any longer. We can't. They're already telling everyone that banking system is finished, and I sent not an email, but I got a video yesterday, I believe it was, where they were saying in Cuba, over in Cuba, which is America still, they've been having those protests going on over there. Well, the people in Cuba are protesting not because they're not protesting for any other reason like what they're saying on the news. The people in Cuba are protesting because the quote-unquote government emptied all the fiat out of the banks over there. Wow. All bank accounts were confiscated in Cuba. All of them. And when you look on the news and you see everybody and their grandmother out there on the street protesting, it's usually something like that. They try and make it seem like it's unlocked, Justice Theodore. He can come in. It's fine. Thank you. Thank you. That's what's going on. And I'll tell you this. The bank accounts here on this land, the corporate bank accounts they've already been taken control of. Just so that you know, they've already been taken control of, and in just a moment, they're going to take out of them whatever they want to take out of them if there has not been a termination of corporate contracts on the public.
If you got all the Dollarium you need, how come you're not emptying?
Okay, so be aware of that. Be aware of that. Because the system has to switch over. It has to. It can't not switch over. Okay. Are there any other questions about...
Come on, Negroes, empty out them Cadillac dealerships with all that Dollarium.
Are there any other questions from the heirs about Any of the things that we've talked about? Thank you for not letting the hybrids deter you from what you're doing, because they're certainly not going to deter me. Go ahead, Nobility. I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, Islam. I just wanted to ask, as far as reaching out to other branches and other nations in reference to the delirium, how do we evolve in that manner?
So thank you for that question. Here's what we've begun to do where the other nations are concerned.
And she's gone. So sorry, your cult meeting was over.
Get off the line, shithead.
Come on, you've got all that delirium. How come you're not emptying out department stores like Nordstrom's and getting Gucci bags?
Islam, I got booted out for just a moment, so I had to get my stuff back in. But so the question was, let me make sure that So what we were about to talk about. The question was, I forgot what the question was. What was the question, Nobility?
How do we evolve in reference to...
other nations. The other nations, yeah. Yes, the other nations. Okay, got it. So, and forgive my my momentary lapse there. With regard to the other nations, what we've begun to do is, contrary to popular belief, the other nations did not know, and some still don't know who they are. So some of you may have seen on social media, I reached, over the last few weeks, I've been reaching out to another nation that is a brother or sister nation of ours, known as, and I'll just put it out there, the Hebrew Israelites. I've reached out to them on various levels and in various platforms, because they need to proclaim themselves a sovereign nation. They have everything right in terms of what they're doing. They just need to proclaim that they are a sovereign nation. And they're not the only ones. All of the other nations need to proclaim that they're sovereign nations and begin using rollback money. So I've already started reaching out to them. I've even developed.
Come on, Negro, start spending all that delirium.
I've developed documents for them so that it can assist them in better expressing their sovereign status. And then if they want to edit those documents and do however they want to do it, they can do it, But I wanted to at least put something out there so that they can see what the purpose of declaring themselves a sovereign nation is all about. Because they need to stop, they need to not be being ran through those courts either. And not only that, they are heirs to the land just like we are. Not only are they heirs to the land just like we are, but they're sovereign. They are of the bloodline and birthright, And so they all need to know. And we see the change starting to happen where they're opening up to that. We just wanted to get ahead of the curve and put a little something out there and at least let it be a start to reaching out to the other nations and assisting them in escaping that system of the fiat system, the capitalism, because a lot of times they other nations will hold fast to their beliefs until it comes to the fiat and the capitalism, because they don't know that there's an alternative. And that's where we come in at. These demonstrations that we're doing with the dollarium, the first demonstration went so well in terms of the empress who they were trying to get her to show up at their court and be surety for a court. That was it happened so smoothly that I know for sure that we'll be able to continue doing it. But again, if you think that you need to send the corpses dollarium, then you're not ready to do the demonstration. Don't do it because you still think they're valid. The Moors must set up businesses and things so that they can receive dollarium back and forth to one another. And then we just notify the corpses or the subjects rather, that this has been done, you've been lien, there's been a court action put on the record, and not only that, but a sovereign exchange has taken place for whatever it is. Okay? And we're going to continue moving in that direction and becoming competent step by step with each one of the processes, like we're doing with the real estate piece. We want to do the same thing with the conveyances, because while we're doing these demonstrations, we're also at the same time taking over the ability to govern those resources. Okay? We have to do that. And when we prove that we're competent to do so, the resources will be turned over like they're supposed to. Okay? So hopefully that answers the question about the nations and what we're doing as far as the dollarium and all of that. And then those nations, they're coming in with talents and skills and abilities and services and goods and things that they have on their minds to do or are already doing. They're just going to have to turn that over and say, okay, we'll take dollarium for what we're doing. And by the way, there are Moors out there that we honor and that we love that have been teaching classes and things like that, and we're beginning to kind of let them know that, hey, at some point we all have to be constitutional with the teachings and the things that we're doing. We can't really teach the Constitution if we're not using constitutional money. And so we're starting to at least plant the seed, okay, because you can't tell sovereigns what to do, but we at least want to plant the seed of, will you accept dollarium for your classes instead of fiat? Or if they want to accept fiat from the ones who use fiat, but accept dollarium from the Moors for the classes and things that are being taught out there by the Moors. And the assistance that's being given. There are some Moors who do hourly appointments and things like that. We're starting to say, hey, can you consider accepting gold-backed Moorish sovereign dollarium for what you're doing? And, this is not an overnight transition, but it is a transition, and it's happening pretty quickly. And so it's going to be, in all of our best interest to go ahead and just move forward the way that we're moving forward. We have to get out of that fiat thing because it's causing too much lack and problems and issues for the Moors. Our heirs need to be able to eat. They need to be able to move about the land freely and use all of the resources, and money should not be an issue. With that being said, are there any other questions or comments or wisdom that you'd like to add *6 will open the meeting. Thank you for your questions, your comments, and our togetherness, our unity. That's what I love about what we're doing, is that we absolutely are unified. Empress, go ahead, Empress, if you have a question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, Islam. So I was, I've been working on, like, for example, you have your sea salt infused with seaweed, and I'm thinking, okay, I got a few couple things I've been working on. I've been using natural resources, but there's a little thing. It may not be nothing, but and I know you did a video about the shipping, when we gonna ship our when we was working on shipping our items, the letters to the corpse. Is there any way we could use that same system, or we to ship our natural resources to the Moors back and forth? So we'd have to use fiat for that.
We have to do the demonstration. You have to do the demonstration because the fiat is going away. We have to do the demonstration. You're asking me, can you do these things? Can you do them? Yes, you can. Yes. The answer is yes, we have to. We don't have a choice here.
Okay.
We don't have a choice. Fiat is done. I mean, there are more that have been going to places like Walmart and different places, and they don't even accept fiat there anymore. So, in some territories, So, Empress, we have to do the demonstration. Do the demonstration, and then let us know what happens.
Okay.
All right. Now, with the mailing process, we've not been using fiat to do the mailing because we just go in, we get our envelopes, and we go in and pick up those free green slips, prepaid green slips really, and then we just deposit the mailing in the depository piece there. All of that stuff is free. It's prepaid rather by the Moors. It's been prepaid by the Moors since time immemorial. So to mail things, you shouldn't have to, pay anything. However, we're going to have to put something on the public record, and we have so much work to do with it. It's just, we got a lot of work to do. But we do have to put something on the public record that says that the United States Post Office, which is the Moors in red and all lowercase letters, hereby places, and we'll move the dollarium around in the budget, and we'll make that available on the public record. Put $100 million towards shipping, postal shipping on the public record in dollarium. We have to do that. It's going to be a minute before we get there because we're setting up the banking system so that everyone can see what's going on, because even in the Constitution, and let me just go there. I might as well. Let's see. Even in the Constitution, it says right here at Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7, no money shall be drawn from the Treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law, and a regular statement and account of the receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be published from time to time. So that's the part we're setting up right now, where we're in alignment with the Constitution, where we're setting up the Treasury where we can publish what's going on with the money. And we did, I'll say this, we did a little test with it the other day, and the test was 100% successful. All I did was send a link to another one of the empresses who's assisting with that whole piece. And she was able to see everything that was doing in real time. As I was putting the updates in there, she was able to see, like, there was about a 2 or 3 second lag behind in me putting the number up there and her seeing it. So it'll be the same way as it would be with any bank account, you know, where you can actually see the changes taking place as they happen. Initially, we will be doing banking by email, like we're doing right now, where you send the email with the dollarium in the email, and when you send it, the receiver will take it and send it to the bank or the treasury, and then or they'll deposit it in their company depository. And when they deposit it in their company depository, the bank will be copied on it, which in this case we're using Chase Bank. And when we say Chase Bank, it's Chase in red and all lowercase letters, meaning we're doing everything. We've already taken control of that resource. And when the exchange is made, either you can use your trust or you can use your bank account. And if you use your Chase moorishe bank account, then you will let the bank know that $300 or $500 came out of your bank account, and then we'll note that email, you know, and so you wouldn't put the dollarium in the email. You just put something saying you'll do an affidavit that says I'm sending $300 in dollarium to so and so for this exchange, okay, and then when you email that to the bank will go into your account based on your sovereign affidavit that you signed and uploaded via email and sent it to the bank. Then the bank will clear the transaction, and then you'll be able to see the transactions that are going on your sovereign bank account at Chase as they happen, as you send the email. So within 24 hours, the emails should be able to start working. You know, within 24 hours, you'll see it reflected on your account, and all you'll have to do is click on the link on your phone or the link in your email, and it will open up your bank account, and you'll be able to see the transactions that are taking place, the exchanges, the sovereign exchanges that are taking place. And again, there's no you know, Moors can print up as much dollarium as they need, you know. So that's where we have to get the buildings and everything, the businesses, the banks that are on the Moroccan American Exchange, those who have stepped up, get ready to get your bank started, and then we're going to have classes on how to get your bank working so that your bank members, who are the sovereign heirs, can start seeing what's going on in their bank account as they move sovereign dollarium back and forth. Okay? So we're moving forward. We see it. It's as clear as day right there. We have the mechanisms in place. The platform is already in place. The money is already in place. The banking is already in place. And now we're getting the companies up and running. And, we're willing to do whatever it takes to get our economy continuing moving, because it's actually already moving. Islam Empress.
Islam.
Islam Empress.
Empress Cynthia Ann Bay here. And I've been fighting not saying this, but I feel like the ancestors are saying, speak up. But as far as, I watch other Moors, they're wonderful people, and they're offering all of this information and these classes, and and I just feel like, me personally, why should we go back to what we're trying to leave to get their instruments to try to teach each other about who we are, and then we have to leave that thing. It takes us. We wait on a miracle or something comes to fall from the sky. We have to leave that system. And I feel like in order to take some of their classes, I have to go out and go to the ones that we're trying to put in their proper place, take their instruments and bring to the Moors who are teaching me. It just feels like, the dog chasing its tail. And I'd like to invite the Moors to really take a look, at what we're doing to ourselves. And now we have a base to start from. People said, oh, this is not there yet or not there. Well, then come be a part of making this perfect. We're it, not them. We are it. And these are our instruments. We must leave their instruments. And please, don't ask me to go out into their system, bring back their systematic instruments to pay for, information that is mine. It really aches me to see us do that to each other, and it feels like there's still a part of us that don't understand that's what's happening to us. And it is up to us to break it. We can't wait on them. They're waiting on us. So anyway, I just had to put that on the record. Thanks for listening. Islam, I yield.
Islam, that's beautiful, Empress. More just, and here's the thing, if there's some, now, think about how much information we've gotten now we honor the teachers, we honor them, and we want the information that they have, but we're not going to compromise to get it. That's number one. And number two, look at how much information we've gotten by not going back to that system. By coming all the way out of it and saying, we're going to do this, I don't care what happens, we're going to do this. Many, yes, Justice Yezreel, many don't realize how far we've come already. Yes, they don't realize yet. But Moors, it's going to be up to y'all to say, hey, we love the information that you're giving, but when are you going to start accepting constitutional money that we're using here? When are you going to start accepting that? And some are going to say things like, I got a family to feed. Yes, you sure do. And that service corporation is not doing that. They're actually taking sandwiches from your children, your heirs. We must demonstrate our way right on out of that system. Got to. Because now, I don't know if you all heard the latest little something that came up that one of the Moors brought up. Oh yes, Justice Amos, that's brilliant. He said putting full faith and credit in ourselves will shut all the fraud down overnight. It's already doing it. Yes, you're right, absolutely. The latest thing that I heard that happened was that the ones doing business as Federal Bureau of Investigation went into this place that had something like 86 million worth of stuff that citizens had, they had put fiat, they put jewelry, gold, and all of this kind of stuff. The Federal Bureau of Investigation subjects went in and just confiscated all of that stuff that they had put in those, with paperwork that seemed to be weak on its face. It seemed to be weak according to them, but it's not weak if they're pretending to be subjects and they're pushing fiat on the land. We got to not do that. We have to not do it. And that's going to start with us. It's already started with us. So you don't know how valuable, when you send the Moors who sent the 300 Moorish sovereign delarium already, I mean, at some point I was even in tears because I was so excited for us, because I know what this means. It means that we don't ever have to go back to that system, and that the ancestors are blessing everything that we do. When we take that, because fiat energy has caused people who love each other to kill each other and to hurt each other and to stop speaking to each other all these years. We got to stop that. That's a no-go. We can't do that. And then talk about nation building in the next breath. I see some more gearing up. They're getting their businesses going and everything, and they getting ready to push that fiat. And I'm thinking, you're not going to get very far pushing that fiat. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You know, so, and we are aware of that. So, you know, so
it's at his last straw.
So
it's done.
Yes, yes, it is already a wrap. It's already a wrap. Okay.
And it's unfortunate that, you know, you can't see with eyes wide open what's happening. It's they're basically trying to stay afloat by doing everything they can. The devil, these demonic people are trying to pull everything they can out of their hat. It's like trying to pull a rabbit out of their hat. That's why they're going in so hard. But people need to, again, eyes wide open. It's in your face. Anybody who has a godly body and a temple, which is our bodies, can see that they're trying to pull everything, and they're all running their own thing because there is no one in control anymore. So everybody is free falling, and that's something that we need to.
The Moors are in control. We're in control. But yes, I see. Yes, that makes all the sense in the world. They are free, and they look like they're free falling, don't they?
Mhm. I try to point it out to people, but the ignorance just it overwhelms. And the first thing I try to tell people is look at your God body. That's you. Look in the mirror. That's you. The temple, not the church. It's you. And you know, it comes a time where it's like either you open up and you see what you see, or you got to keep it moving. You can't save everybody, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Though he that hath an ear, let him hear. He that hath an eye, let him see. Here he is. You know. Yes. So, with that being said, we'll go ahead and pause the call here, and we'll pick back up again on Sunday. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing, more. Now, I don't have to even try to convince anybody that what we're doing is working. I don't have to do that. I never really had to do it. I never felt like I had to do it. But now it's like we all can see. So with that being said, we got this. Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heir, Islam.
Peace and grand rising.
Peace and grand rising. Grand rising, Mars. Much love.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
First three in the make.
Islam. Rising.
Islam.
Islam.
Grand rising. Peace and love.